What is up, guys? We are back after a decent weekend last week with a UFC 294 Makhachev versus Volkanovski 2 prediction video. Let's jump right in. Kicking us off at middleweight, Shara Magomedov versus Bruno Silva. This is a really interesting matchup to kick off the card. Shara Magomedov is the one-eyed Dagestani guy that I'm sure all of you guys have probably seen clips of, pictures of. Dagestani striker. He's really quite good, and he's going up against Bruno Silva. Now, there's a couple of underdogs that I don't mind on this card, and I'll go into it in more detail later on. I don't hate Bruno Silva in this matchup at all. Shara Magomedov is really quite good. He's got really good kicks to the body, really good leg kicks, and he's got a very fast left hand. But Bruno Silva's kind of a dangerous guy to get in your debut, man. He really, really is. And I was going back and forth on this matchup. They have Magomedov as a minus 220. And I think the line should be tighter. I think Bruno Silva hasn't looked the best lately, but he's lost to pretty decent competition recently. He lost to Brendan Allen, who's decent. He lost to Gerald Mearshart, who's okay. And he lost to Alex Pereira on the feet, you know? Like, he can hang. So it really is a tough matchup for Magomedov. I'm gonna go with Magomedov here. I think just the youth, the momentum, and the kicking at range can be enough to beat Bruno Silva. However, he does keep his hands really quite low. He's missing a fucking eye in his head. And I just have a feeling about this matchup. I'm just saying this so if Bruno Silva does upset, I don't look like a fucking idiot. I have a feeling Bruno Silva could catch this kid. I'm picking him because he's good, he's young, he's running a ton of momentum, and I think he can play the range game and find a good shot on Bruno Silva, a guy who really likes to run in there kind of blindly and throw big looping strikes. Like, if he fights this kid any type of way similar to the way he fought Gerald Mearshart, I think he's going to get chinned. But if he fights this guy the way he fought Alex Pereira, there's a chance he could upset. I'm going with Shara Magomedov. I think he's going to whittle him down early with the leg kicks and the kicks to the body. And then I think he's really going to start to find that lightning left hand. And probably TKO Bruno Silva in the second round. Jumping up to women's strawweight. Victoria Dudakova versus Jinyu Fray. It's Jinyu Fray. She's 40 and she's 11-9. There you go. No, I mean, Victoria Dudakova is decent. She's a decent prospect. She's very young. She's bigger. She has the reach. She's got better grappling. Do I like her at minus 600? No, but it's fucking Jinyu Fray, man. Granted, Jinyu Fray is not her record's a little deceiving. Because there's a couple of fights, I think, that maybe could have gone her way that were, like, close decisions. But at the end of the day, I can't take Jinyu Fray. You know, I'm going with Victoria Dudakova. She just has more ways to win. She's younger. She's bigger. I think she's just better overall, in my opinion. Jumping up to featherweight, we have Nathaniel Wood versus Muhammad Neamov. Another kind of sketchy matchup. I like Nathaniel Wood. I think he's incredibly talented. He looks really good at featherweight. The only thing about him is that he's just a little bit chinny, man. And sometimes when he goes up against guys who have really good power in their hands, a guy like Muhammad Neamov, it's a little bit sketchy. But, you know, Muhammad was getting absolutely schooled by Jamie Malarkey in their fight until he caught him. And I think Nathaniel Wood's striking and his ability to maintain a range and his striking defense is way better than Jamie Malarkey's. I don't see Muhammad Neamov being able to catch Nathaniel Wood. I think his guard's going to be too tight. I think Muhammad throws a lot of looping shots. I don't think he's going to catch Nathaniel Wood and chin him. I'm going to pick Nathaniel Wood. I think he's going to get this done probably by decision. I think he's just going to school this guy. He's only given up an inch of reach. I think he's just going to outstrike him on the outside and really not give this guy a chance to chin him. I don't think he's really going to enter the pocket that often. And if he does, I don't think he's going to stay there for very long. Moving up to lightweight, we have Anshel Jubli versus Mike Breeden. Man, Mike Breeden is just kind of ass, I'll be honest. I don't think Mike Breeden has any business getting another matchup in the UFC, if I'm being real. He's 34. How many in a row has Mike Breeden lost now? He's lost his last three fights, two in the first round, and one of them is a decision to Natan Levy. Like, yeah, man, this guy's just not very good. And I think Enshil Jubli's actually a decent prospect. It just kind of seems like they're throwing Mike Breeden just to the wolves again, just trying to get this kid an easy win. That's how I'm feeling about it. And Enshil Jubli actually does have a little bit of talent to him. He seems like a decent prospect who might be pretty fun to keep your eye on. I think he's probably gonna finish Mike Breeden. I don't know if he. I think he might actually get a finish in the first round. Mike Breeden's ass, dude. I'm gonna be honest. Uh, just kind of seems like a layup for Anshul Jubli. If Anshul Jubli finds a way to lose this fight, I mean, fucking cut the kid, honestly. Because Mike Breeden's ass. Moving up to middleweight, we have Abu Azaitar versus Cedric Dumas. Abu Azaitar hasn't fought in like 3 years, since 2021. He's 37. He's honestly a midget for middleweight. However, he does have really big power. Both of the Azaitar brothers have nukes for hands, but I feel like Cedric Dumas, he's younger, he's way bigger, he's been fighting, he's been active, and he made improvements in his grappling pretty substantially from his Josh Frim fight to his Cody Brundage fight. I know Cody Brundage is absolute trash. He shouldn't be in the UFC. But Cedric Dumas showed a little bit of maturity in his game, and he adapted to the groundwork pretty well over those two fights, which I think is a good sign for a young guy like him, that he's making gains like that. I think I'm going to trust him to beat Abu Azaitar. I don't think Azaitar is going to want to grapple with Dumas, which I think plays directly into Dumas's game. He's one of these guys who likes to stand up and strike with people, and he's so big and he's so long. I just feel like Abu Azaitar is going to get chin, man, especially because he hasn't been in there in like 3 years. I'm going to go with Cedric Dumas. I think he's going to get him out of there early. I think he's going to get a first-round TKO for himself and really make a statement. Moving up to bantamweight, Javid Basharat versus Victor Henry. This is an interesting fight. The odds are not what I thought they would be. I knew Basharat was going to be a favorite, but minus 500 over Victor Henry seems crazy. Victor Henry's no bum. Like, Victor Henry's got a ton of experience, and he is a tough guy stylistically for a lot of these guys at bantamweight. I'm going to go with Javid Basharat. I think he's going to win this fight probably by decision. I think he's going to be able to just outstrike Victor Henry. I really do. I think he's going to be able to outstrike him on the outside. But man, minus 500. I would think Javid Basharat should be closer, like maybe minus 250 tops. I'm going with Javid Basharat by decision. But I don't think it'll be very easy. I think Victor Henry might be a little tricky, but I think Javid Basharat, I trust in him to figure him out. Kind of like Rafael Assunção did in their fight. He just kept on the outside and outstruck Victor Henry and won a decision. I kind of see Javid Basharat winning the fight in a similar way. Moving up to lightweight, Muhammad Yaya versus Trevor Peek. I'm going with Trevor Peek. He's a slight favorite, and he does fight like a bit of a goofball. But I was digging into Muhammad Yaya's record, and man, he is just fighting straight bombs. Like his record is straight ass. Looking at that, nothing really impressive about the guy when you watch his fights either. I think he's going to get chinned by Trevor Peek in the first round, man. Because Trevor Peek has an unreal chin. You saw that in his Chepe Mariscal fight. He was eating unreal shots. And Muhammad Yaya likes to strike, but it doesn't seem like he has that much power. It doesn't seem like he can take a good licking either. And it just doesn't seem like he has that much skill on the feet. And I feel like this is just going to be a very sloppy stand-up fight. And man, in a sloppy stand-up fight, man, I'm taking Trevor Peek every day of the week, bro. I didn't even mean to rhyme there. Trevor Peek fights like You caught him trying to steal your Cadillac converter outside of a fucking Lowe's, man. He is not the guy you want to have a sloppy stand-up fight with. You know what I mean? I'm going with Trevor Peek, round 1 TKO in this fight over Muhammad Yaya. Closing out the prelims at flyweight, Tim Elliott versus Muhammad Mokaev. This is an interesting fight as well. There's a lot of really big favorites on this card that I don't think should be as big as they are. I'm gonna pick Muhammad Mokaev to win. He's got great grappling. He's very young. He seems to be a very good prospect. However, there's sometimes he doesn't look invincible. A guy like Tim Elliott is very tricky, and he's a very hard guy to beat. He upset Tagir Ulanbekov, who's very good. Tim Elliott's going to be a hard guy to beat. I think, though, that the grappling of these two might cancel each other out, because Tim Elliott can grapple, Muhammad Mokaev can grapple, and I think this is going to end up being largely a stand-up fight. And I think I favor Muhammad Mokaev. Not that Tim Elliott is a bum on the feet. He's very tricky. He moves very weird. But Muhammad has the reach on him, and I think he's just going to have more pop in his shots. When he lands on Tim Elliott, I think it's going to affect Tim Elliott a whole lot more than when Tim Elliott lands on Muhammad Mokaev, in my opinion. I think Muhammad Mokaev is going to win this fight by decision. I think he's going to take Tim Elliott to a decision. I think he's going to edge him out maybe 2-1, because Tim Elliott's no bum. He's no bum. He shouldn't be plus 350, in my opinion. But I do think Muhammad Mokaev has what it takes to win a decision. Opening up the main card at bantamweight, we have Said Nurmagomedov versus Muin Gafarov. This one seems pretty easy to predict, man. I'm going with Said Nurmagomedov. Muin Gafarov really hasn't shown in any of his fights to be on the level of a guy like Said Nurmagomedov, man. Like, for me, in my head, Said Nurmagomedov, he's in my brain, he's ranked. Like, he's good enough to be ranked, I think. He had a very close fight with Jonathan Martinez, which I think he lost, but this weekend you saw how good Jonathan Martinez is. Having a close decision with him really doesn't age that badly. Now, his most impressive win to me is his win over Said Yukub Karakramanov. He was losing that fight, and he pulled out a very impressive submission in the second round over Said Yukub, and that's a guy I rate very highly. I think that kid is super good. I just think Said Nurmagomedov is a level above Muin Gafarov, man. I don't see any easy path of victory for Muin, man. I don't think he can out-grapple Said. I don't think he can outstrike him. I just think Said Nurmagomedov can win this fight however which way he wants. Moving up to middleweight, Ikram Aliskerov versus Warley Alves. This is another fight where I'm just kind of like, it's pretty easy to predict, I hope. I'm going with Ikram Aliskerov over Warley Alves. I haven't seen that much of Ikram Aliskerov to think he's really that good. Like, if he was still fighting Nasruddin Imavov, I would have picked Imavov 100%. Because Ikram Aliskerov, he's only beaten fucking Phil Hawes. And Phil Hawes, I could knock out Phil Hawes, you know what I'm saying? But Warley Alves, man, he's a 170-pounder. He hasn't looked great in his last few fights. I don't see a very easy path to victory for him. And once again, I think Ikram Aliskerov can just win this fight whichever way he wants. I think he could take down Warley Alves and submit him. I think he could shin him on the feet too, because Warley Alves is he's a decent sized welterweight, but Ikram Aliskerov is a pretty big ass fucking middleweight. He's younger. He's got the reach. He's got the momentum. He's got better skills. It's a tough fight for Warley Alves, man. I think I'm going to take Ikram Aliskerov. I think he's going to TKO Warley Alves. I think he's going to find his chin early. Moving up to light heavyweight, Magomed Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. Fellas, this is the fight in particular on this card that I have gone back and forth with more than any other. This fight is perplexing to me in a way that I can't quite describe. And I've got to be honest, fellas, I was gonna go with Magomed Ankalaev this whole week and the week before it. I was like, Magomed Ankalaev, man, he's a monster. But the more I think about this, the more of the recent fights I've looked at, I have this inkling that Johnny Walker is going to win this fight, and I'm gonna explain why. I don't think, in my heart of hearts, that Magomed Ankalaev is capable of taking Johnny Walker down and holding him down. I don't think he can do it. I know he's Dagestani. I know he's got the pretty record. But it's just when I see Johnny Walker in the cage with other light heavyweights, he looks like a different kind of human. Like, he's so much bigger than these guys. And he looks, and he is so much fucking stronger than these guys. I have a feeling Magomed Ankalaev is going to have a really hard time trying to grapple with Johnny Walker. You know, Paul Craig tried, couldn't do shit with him. Granted, Paul Craig's nowhere even close to the wrestler Ankalaev is. But it's just like, it seems like when guys hit Johnny Walker's hips to take him down, they're just like, what the fuck? Like, he doesn't move. And on the feet, man, Ankalaev against Jan Blachowicz was not fucking impressing me at all. Jan Blachowicz is 40, man. He's a great fighter, but he's 40, and he was beating the tar out of Ankalaev on the feet. And I just think Johnny Walker is one of these guys, man, where if he hits you with something, that's it. And he's got 7 inches of reach on him, too, man. Now, they have Johnny Walker listed at 6'6". I think he's closer to 6'7". Now, the only downside to Johnny Walker is he has no chin. If you hit him, he shuts off bad. And Magomed Ankalaev can shut off the lights. He's got a great left hand. But there's just something that has been barking at me that he's gonna lose. I don't know why, because I have been thinking Ankalaev wins this fight for weeks, but the more I think about it, the more unsure I am. This might age really fucking stupidly, like he might just chin Johnny Walker in like 20 seconds, but I just have this feeling that Magomed Ankalaev is not going to know what to do with the unorthodox striking of Johnny Walker, and I feel like if he shoots a takedown, I feel like he's going to get met with some strength that he probably hasn't felt in this division. I just get that feeling. I'm going to go with Johnny Walker. I'm going to go with Johnny Walker. I think Johnny Walker wins this fight. I think Johnny Walker chins Magomed Ankalaev in, like, the second round. Moving up to the co-main event, Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev. This is a tough fight for Kamaru Usman, man, moving up to 185 for this fight. I don't like it on such short notice. Like, this is the short notice replacement matchup that I'm the most confident in. I think Khamzat Chimaev is going to beat Kamaru Usman. And I think he's going to make it kind of easy, I fear. Kamaru Usman, in my opinion, has been on a decline a little bit since his second Covington fight, and especially since the Leon Edwards head kick. Kamaru Usman did not look great in his rematch with Leon Edwards. And if that guy shows up against a 185 Khamzat Chimaev on a full training camp who built himself up into this weight class, I think he's going to have some serious fucking problems, guys. Kamaru Usman is one of these guys who the reason Kamaru Usman's striking and his forward pressure is as good as it is because Kamaru Usman is a great wrestler and everybody feared Kamaru Usman's takedowns at welterweight. That is not going to be the case, I don't think, against Khamzat Chimaev at all. I think Kamaru Usman's going to walk forward, and I think Khamzat's going to meet him there with no fear of the takedown. And I think that's going to be bad news bears for Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman has a good jab and he's got good power when he's at the range he wants to be. When he's moving forward and he's at his range, he can really lay some power in with his strikes. I think in this fight, Kamaru Usman's going to be on the back foot in this fight. I don't see him getting a ton of respect from Khamzat Chimaev on the feet. I don't. I think Khamzat's going to kind of... I can't believe I'm saying this. I think Khamzat Chimaev's just going to bully him out there. Now, Kamaru Usman's as live of a dog as you can get, right? He's plus 230. It's Kamaru Usman, you know what I mean? He can win this fight. I don't want to make it sound like he's a bozo and he's going to get nuked. But just from the way he's looked recently, and the physicality of Chimaev, I think, at middleweight, I think it's just going to be too much for him, man. Like, Kamaru's 36, bro. I don't know. I really don't know how he's going to look. I know how Khamzat Chimaev is probably going to look, and it's going to be scary. I think I'm going with Khamzat Chimaev, like, round 1 or 2 TKO. I think he's going to catch Usman. And jumping up to our main event at lightweight, Islam Makhachev, Alexander Volkanovski 2. Man, fellas, you might call me a crazy person. You might say I'm deranged. I'm sick in the head. I'm picking Alexander Volkanovski. I know, fellas. Everything in this fight is completely against Alexander Volkanovski. Short notice, up a weight class, 5 rounds, coming in off of an arm surgery. But I can't shake this feeling in my bones that he's gonna win this fight. Maybe his confidence in himself has sold me on being confident in him. I feel like he is confident coming into this fight that he can hang with Makhachev. Because before that fight, I think, their first fight I'm talking about, I don't know if he was sure if he could really grapple with Makhachev, if he could really strike with Makhachev or take his best shots. After that first fight, he is definitely confident in his ability to do that. Is he completely prepared to do that? No. And could that overconfidence perhaps lead him to getting caught? Absolutely. But I'm going to trust Volkanovski to stay within himself and keep that confidence measured. And I think I sounds crazy when I'm saying this, just looking at my Audacity recording of what I'm about to say. I think he's going to chin Makhachev. I know that sounds insane. We've already seen he's capable of hurting Makhachev on the feet and dropping him. Makhachev's also capable of hurting Volk on the feet and dropping him too. But in the Yair Rodriguez fight with Volkanovski, I think his striking looked a little better. I know that sounds crazy to say that it looked like Volkanovski made an improvement to his game, but it really did look like that. The way he bitched Yair Rodriguez was pretty crazy, honestly. His boxing in particular looked very clean in that fight, and it looked better than it did against Islam Makhachev in the first fight. And I think that was due to the fear that Alexander Volkanovski had of the takedowns. And I think because of he is now confident in the fact that he can hang with Makhachev on the ground and go through some dangerous positions, I don't think his boxing will look quite so stiff as it did in the first fight with Makhachev. I think he's going to be a little bit looser on the feet, and I think that leads to a second round TKO over Islam Makhachev. I am sick in the head. I am an insane person, fellas. But yeah, man. That's my pick. Alexander Volkanovski, TKO. Take it to the bank. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to drop a like. Leave your picks in the comments as always. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.